The Beast asks Wirt a chilling question in the final episode of Over the Garden Wall. Are you ready to see true darkness? This isn't just about a dark, spooky place. It's a question for us, about our own darkness. The things we hate about ourselves. The fears we're afraid to face. The flaws we criticize in others, even though deep down, we know we're the same. In this video, we're going to explore how Over the Garden Wall teaches us to understand and accept ourselves, and why mistakes aren't just a part of life. They're the only way to live a good one. First, a quick refresher. Over the Garden Wall is an American animated dark fantasy miniseries from 2014, created by Patrick McHale for Cartoon Network. It's a short, but incredibly meaningful, journey through a strange and mysterious forest. Today, we're focusing on one of the main characters, Wirt, the older brother. Wirt seems so insecure and lost, and yet, he feels so familiar. But why? Many of us believe a good life is one without mistakes. A perfect life where we always have the right answers and guide others flawlessly. We think we have to be perfect to be accepted. This mindset leads us to see our imperfections as unforgivable and makes us feel inferior to everyone around us. This is why Wirt resonates with us so much. We see ourselves in him. We're so afraid of failing that we never even try. Instead of talking to a person we like or starting a new project, we create an excuse, a lie, that tells us it's not worth the effort. Is it because we're really that bad? Or is it a way to avoid the pain of failure? Maybe Wirt can help us answer these questions. To understand his journey, let's start with a look at what happened before they entered the forest. Let's start with Episode 9, which will help us to see Wirt's story chronologically. In Episode 9, we see Wirt grappling with giving a mixtape to a girl he likes, Sara. He gets so frustrated he almost throws the tape away, but he reconsiders. He puts on a ridiculous homemade costume and goes to find her. Then he heard about another guy, Jason Funderburker, who will ask Sara to go out. Wirt immediately gives up. He feels he has no chance against Jason. Instead of risking failure with Sara, he runs away. He runs away from his responsibility and from his fears. This is what leads him and Greg into the unknown forest. We'll come back to this scene later, because it's key to understanding why Wirt was able to act bravely in Episode 4. But here, he just ran away. Now let's jump to Episode 4. Songs of the Dark Lantern. The brothers, along with Beatrice, are trying to find their way home. They stop at a tavern where Beatrice, a bluebird, isn't allowed inside because the keeper says bluebirds bring bad luck. Wirt has to go in alone and ask for directions. An easy task, right? But not for Wirt. The tavern keeper asks Wirt, "Who are you?" which leads to some singing and dancing. Wirt sings about their journey, and the other patrons start to magnify the brothers' adventures, calling Wirt a brave pilgrim. And after a song about the beast, the tavern keeper points to the lantern and says, "The one who carries the lantern must be the beast." After saying to Wirt that he does not need directions because he is a pilgrim, they hear a scream from Beatrice in the forest. The patrons encourage Wirt to save Beatrice. Why was Wirt able to take action here? What's the difference between this Wirt and the one from Episode 9? Nothing about Wirt has changed, but his environment has. In the first scenario, he was with Sara's friends, who didn't praise him or call him a hero. But in the tavern, he's surrounded by people who are calling him a master of his own destiny and a hero. He's acting because he's living up to the expectations others have created for him. He's not acting out of his own confidence. He's performing a role. Let's jump to Episode 6, Lullaby in Frogland. After their misadventure with Uncle Endicott, the group boards the Frogland ferry. While this video is about Wirt, we need to talk about Beatrice for a moment, because her story is crucial to Wirt's growth. Beatrice is conflicted. She wants to save her family, but she has to give up her new friends, Wirt and Greg, to do it. What's the right choice? In the end, she makes a decision. She'll try to save her friends. But she's not worried about what Adelaide will do to her. She's terrified of what Wirt and Greg will think. Will they hate her? Will they still want her around after she betrayed them? So, like many of us would, she lies. We think it's a good way to avoid conflict and spare someone we care about. But does lying truly build a meaningful relationship? Or is it just a way to avoid the fear of being rejected? The only way to build real connections is by being honest with others and with ourselves. If we lie about who we are, the other person is building a relationship with a ghost. The only way to learn from our mistakes is to face the consequences of hurting someone we care about, of betraying their trust. Beatrice's plan to avoid the kids getting to Adelaide's house fails when Wirt and Greg follow her. While she ultimately saves them by opening a window, the damage is done. Wirt's feelings are deeply hurt. Here we see that Beatrice and Wirt aren't so different after all. Both of them are terrified of rejection. For Wirt, the fear is that people won't accept him for who he is or for the things he likes. For Beatrice, the fear is that her past mistakes define her, and no one will accept her if she reveals them. Are we afraid of being ourselves? Or are we afraid of the things we've done? Maybe we're both. But as the show reminds us, there's always hope. At the end of episode 6, we see a hurt and troubled Wirt. He's afraid, and he just wants to run away from his emotions. Can we blame him? We're not taught how to face what we feel. We're taught to ignore our feelings until they disappear. But do they ever really disappear? This brings us to episode 7, the ringing of the bell. Wirt is actively trying to avoid his emotions. He makes excuses, claiming they'll be better off without Beatrice. He says he's a capable leader and everything will be fine. But we can see how exhausted and angry he is. His past experience with Beatrice is taking control. This is most evident at the end of the episode. After saving Lorna, Wirt doesn't feel like a hero. Instead, he focuses on how someone else betrayed a promise to him. Lorna chose to stay with her aunt instead of running away with him and Greg. He feels foolish for trusting someone again. What's the best way to make us reconsider our actions? The consequences of what we've done. Wirt loses the last thing he has. His brother Greg, the person who has been with him every step of the way, who always encouraged him to be brave. Now, Greg is gone because of Wirt's inability to take responsibility. Wirt is alone, and he has a choice. Save Greg from the beast, or give up like he always has. Why does Wirt finally take action? Why does he want to save Greg? Is it to be a pilgrim? To be called a hero? No. He realizes that none of that matters. Greg was there for him, and now, for the first time, Wirt wants to be there for Greg. Not for a title, but because it's what's right. Because he truly cares. When the beast asks Wirt the final question, Wirt is scared, but only for a moment. Then, he accepts himself. He accepts that he's scared, but he also accepts what he's learned about himself and what he's capable of. He may not be the most heroic protagonist we've ever seen, and he knows that. This question, are you ready to see true darkness? Is a moment before an important decision. It's about facing the possibility of failure and the emotions that come with it. It's about asking if we're ready to be hurt, to be exposed, to accept our good, our bad, and our ugly. It's a moment of truth, a leap of faith. This question doesn't just appear once in our lives. It appears every time we want to take a step toward the person we want to be. It appears every time we try to accomplish something meaningful. And even if you can answer it now, it will appear again. But the next time, you'll be able to see through the question, just as Wirt did. This isn't about believing that everything is possible or that you will always succeed. Most of the time, you will fail. But it's about trying. It's about understanding our own limits and capacities. It's about accepting the good, the bad, and the ugly about ourselves without making excuses, without avoiding the pain of failure, and without blaming others for our shortcomings. It's about not letting past mistakes or past hurt stop us from taking new opportunities. It's about understanding that we will hurt and we will be hurt, that we will fail and we will succeed. And the most important thing is that we learn from it, so we can be ready to see true darkness, just like Wirt.